Track Wrestling here at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Dan Gable Museum with wrestling photographer Justin Hoch in town behind us. You see some of his work, the Fire Inside project. He's been working on that for a while. Tell us a little bit about its origin, how it got started.
Well, about 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to be a portrait photographer, and I wanted to do more portraits and learn how to use lights. And I had access to a bunch of wrestlers from my time at Beat the Streets, so I decided to start taking portraits of wrestlers. I had an idea of doing something gritty and kind of intense, and it evolved into the work that it is now.
So which, you were telling me off camera, started with some women's freestyle members, right?
Yeah, there were a bunch of world teamers who were in town for a little bit of a mini camp, and they were training, and I knew about it, so I decided to head over there. And I had one light with me and just started taking some portraits.
So what's it up to now? How many have you done?
Over 1,200. People all around the wrestling world and all facets of the community, from athletes to coaches to media personnel to parents, fans, friends.
Well, let's look at some of these on the wall here. Tell us a little bit about maybe some history with them. You got Terry Brands and John Smith up here.
Yeah, Terry, I just took this one in Fargo last week, actually, so that's a brand new one. That's pretty cool. It's exciting to have him in the body of work and be able to show it here. John Smith is one of the older ones. He came in to Beat the Streets to do a coach's clinic a couple years ago, and I was relatively new. This was probably 3 or 4 months into the project. So that's one of the older ones, so that's pretty neat. And you can actually see between those two, you can see an evolution in how I've kind of processed and done some of the editing on these. Like his has a very orange kind of Oklahoma State glow to it, if you will. And I've stopped doing them in that sort of style. Adeline's is another one of the older ones, and that kind of has a similar sort of more, I would say, more dramatic shift in the style of it. Her tagline is gray to gold, so the gray overall tint with her eyes being gold, so that kind of like embodies her tagline there. And then this is a brand new one. I photographed this one last year actually, but I finished the processing on it like 2 nights ago. I got it ready for this show. You know, this is more the style that I'm kind of doing now. That it's a little bit sharper, it's a little more contrasty. The overall tones are more true to life than some of the older ones. But yet there's still a style to it. It's not just a picture out of camera. It's still, there's a significant amount of post-processing that's done that takes it away from just a standard photograph. So it's fun. I'm enjoying like it as a project that's evolving and as a style that's evolving. And it still is cohesive to me in certain ways because it's still like a standard square size portrait. It's a pretty up close kind of look at how these people's faces work, right? Like that's something that I really enjoy. Like some people can't move their eyebrows in certain ways, and so that makes it look a little bit different. Like if they can't squinch it up and get that little crease in there, like that gives it a different look than if they can. If they try to drop their eyebrows down and it makes them squint, that gives it a different look. Some people look really uncomfortable in this, you know, kind of style, and other people look like they were born to look this way. So
1,200 of these things, you got to have a favorite story or two.
Wow. It's always nice when people come up and they've seen them before and they're excited about getting one, and they're like, you know, I want to do this, and I don't have to talk them into it. So it's cool. Now I'm getting them out there more. I've been going to tournaments and taking them as like a business, setting up a table as a booth and having people come by and, you know, purchasing these. And, you know, like a lot of parents for their kids will come over and, you know, they want to get one, they like them. I have a couple set out on the table and people look at them and they think they're cool. So it's nice to have that kind of acceptance. Like that's something that I'm really enjoying about it. Trying to think about like an individual story though. Nothing comes to mind that was just Well, actually, yours is pretty great because in Rochester, Minnesota, we did one, and you kept coming by. You're like, "I'm working on my face. How's this look?" And you're like practicing off camera,
scrunching the eyebrows,
and you every now and then you come. Okay, all right. How about this? How about this? How's this look? And so that was actually pretty great. I really enjoyed that. That was awesome.
So what? How long is this going to go on?
You know,
is there an end date to this? Is there an end goal?
I guess once I photograph everybody. I mean, if I can complete the entirety of the wrestling community worldwide, then maybe it's over at that point.
So we got some time to work on that then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for us, Justin?
No, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Tell everybody that where they can go and view this stuff.
Yeah, if you go to my website, jhoch.com, JHOCH.com, you can find all my contact information, all my social media handles, and see some of the work.
That sounds good. While we got you, what's your history as a photographer, wrestling photographer? How did you get into it?
I started working semi-professionally as a photographer in 2007. I had been shooting just on my own and had like a little point and shoot camera, but decided I wanted to take it a little more seriously. Got an SLR, started shooting portraits for actor friends, and I carried it with me everywhere I went, and I took thousands and thousands of pictures of anything, any kind of style, any kind of location, any kind of people. I was just interested in capturing things and documenting things. And I wrestled my whole life. I started when I was 4, I wrestled in college. And in 2010, I started working at Beat the Streets. And one of the things that I was doing was taking pictures, but I really got in there to do grant writing and development work and help out on that front. But through that and having my camera all the time and taking pictures, I got to know a lot of people in the wrestling community, and I got to know a lot of the people at USA Wrestling. And so once I left Beat the Streets about 4 years ago and decided to be a full-time photographer, I had all these relationships, so it gave me access and opportunities to go up to Jordan Burroughs and say, hey, I want to do this portrait. You don't know anything about it, but do you trust me? And so I had a little bit of access on that level. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I shoot action stuff all the time. And it's cool. It's brought me all over the world. It's great.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the time.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.